Here.
Commission Maria Martinez,
Here.
and Chairman Chris Nahar.
Here. At this time, can we
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of the United States of
this time, I entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Rivera,
Second.
second by Commissioner Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes for the March 13, 2018 County Commission meeting. Need a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Commissioner Padilla, second.
Second.
Commissioner Martinez, second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Introduction of new San Miguel County employees. Do we have any? We don't have any. At this time, we'll move on to public input. We have 5 people that are registered to speak. Individuals wanting to speak to address the commission during public input must sign in on the public input form prior to the commission meeting approving the day's agenda. Recognized speakers are allowed to speak on items relevant to county business and responsibilities. In order to promote an orderly, efficient meeting respectful to everyone's time, the county chairman may recognize individuals who have signed up to speak. Recognized speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. Public comment period. Recognized speakers shall be permitted to speak no more than one time. No rebuttals to the comments or others will be permitted. Comments, applause, or other interruptions from the audience shall not be allowed. This time, Mr. Bob Withers.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. I am Bob Witters, and I'm representing the Economic Development Corporation. In March of 2015, the Board of County Commissioners passed Ordinance 0330-15 GRT entitled Hold Harmless Gross Receipts Tax, which increased the gross receipts tax by 0.25%. This ordinance stated that the revenue from this increase will be used, and now I quote, for the general fund, road improvements and maintenance projects, law enforcement, economic development projects, and capital outlay projects. So far this fiscal year, the county has not used gross receipt tax funds for any economic development projects. In November of 2017, the Board of County Commissioners voted to fund the Las Vegas San Miguel County EDC with $30,000 to develop economic development projects for the county. The county manager is now refusing to complete this contract. So again, the county has not used any of the GRT increase for economic development projects this year. It appears that the county should identify the appropriate amount of gross receipts tax from this fiscal year that should be refunded to taxpayers, since GRT receipts have not been used as specified in the county ordinance. In March of 2018, the Executive Board of the Local Economic Development Corporation issued a vote of no confidence pertaining to the San Miguel County Manager. Each commissioner received a copy of this resolution of no confidence. The Executive Board of the EDC listed 5 items that the county manager has refused to take action on. The first item goes back to August of 2017. Item number 2 goes back to November of 2017. And the county is in arrears well over a year in its rock crusher royalty payments as addressed in item 3. As you can see, very little has been done on these items. Please take action on these items now. The EDC is here to help. We want to work together with the county commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Withers. Sally Withers.
Good afternoon,
Good
Chairman and
afternoon.
Commissioners. My name is Sally Witters, and I live in San Miguel County. My question is, why does a non-elected official have the discretion to set the agenda of the Board of County Commissioners? The rules need to be changed where potential for abuse of discretion exists. It's vitally important to have transparency in conducting the people's business. Rules should be written and interpreted for the good of the public and for the sake of the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Withers.
Mr. Chairman, I can respond legally to the question if you
All right.
like. In answer to your question, our district judge in San Miguel County recently found that the county manager has the sole authority upon consultation with the chairman to set the agenda. And this is a rule that was established in our policies and procedures close to 10 years ago.
Thank you, Councilor. Manuel Garcia.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Residents, today's topic is public rights versus private rights. And that comes up time to time at county commissions or city meetings. For instance, in an incorporated area like the city of Las Vegas, there's public roads. That's one of the main issues. And most of the properties in the cities are private properties. However, the public right is greater than the private right. For instance, on your private property in Las Vegas, you cannot drill a well for oil, you cannot drill a well for water without a permit, and you might not be able to do it. So there are statutes and ordinances, statutes from the state of New Mexico, and ordinances from the local areas that define the use of private lands and private properties. It is very similar out in the unincorporated areas of the county, like out in the eastern area of San Miguel County where I live. There are basically public roads out there and private roads and private land. So there's always a battle between people that want public rights and people that want their private rights. People have the right to go hunting on public lands. And one of the issues that's happening is that some of the farmers out there, large landowners, are doing stuff that isn't necessarily within the law. Like, for instance, they're feeding the elk, they're feeding deer. It's called chumming. And so they want to assert their private rights to do that. And the reason that they're doing that is that they can charge quite a bit of money for hunters to go on their land. I understand that UU Bar Ranch charges anywhere from $15,000 to $35,000 per hunter to access their land so they can go hunt elk. So there's other reasons that private individuals don't want roads patrolled or don't want public roads, but generally the public policy has right over the private policy. Even though there are both rights, there's a public right and then there's a private right. So we want to make sure that the commission understands that there's always an ongoing battle between, what rights can be expressed for the public and what rights can be expressed for private landowners. And we always encourage the county to make sure that they enforce the public right as much as possible, because that's what makes America great. That's what makes the state. If there were complete private rights, we wouldn't have any rights at all. So the public rights dominate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jasmine Khan.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Chairman, Commissioners, Melinda. Catherine Kahn, Las Vegas, New Mexico. I want to have on public record a vote of no confidence in our county manager by people of San Miguel County. We have witnessed and have evidence of several violations of the Open Meeting Act, overstepping his authority in relation to elected and appointed commissioners, making decisions contrary to San Miguel County Commissioners' 5-0 resolutions, exhibiting non-transparency, favoritism, and ignoring the voices of the communities of San Miguel County. Our chairman has shown lack of interest from constituents, throwing in the trash a letter from a citizen about state law and Open Meeting Act concerning listening to the people without bothering to look at its contents. Agenda items important to the people of San Miguel are being unilaterally decided upon by the county manager and chairman. Where is the democratic process? We have 5 elected commissioners, each of whom represent their constituents. Remember, you work for us, the people of San Miguel County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khan. Manuel Martinez.
Good afternoon, County Commissioners and Chairman. I'm here again with the Hispano Chamber of Commerce that I've been up here a few times already trying to get funded for different projects, and it seems like the timing was wrong. We're going to carry this on till next year. I did find out that we did have some lodger's tax availability money for to address some of the issues that I have brought up in front of your commission in the past months. I am looking for right now some lodger's tax money to continue so we can have some type of input for the tourists that are visiting Las Vegas. It is a crying shame that Las Vegas and San Miguel County are the only municipalities that are not represented with a chamber other than myself right now, that I'm out there trying to keep the tourist dollars in town. If any of you or all of you walk downtown Las Vegas, New Mexico, there is constantly people walking around town with cameras taking pictures and they don't even know what they're taking pictures of because they don't have no type of guidance. They have no type of invitation to the city. We're constantly complaining and crying that there is no jobs in Las Vegas, New Mexico. This is one of our biggest industries that we are letting it go to waste. Ladies and gentlemen, you elected officials, wake up and try your best to finance either my organization or another organization that's going to keep these tax dollars in the city. Every dollar that is spent in the city goes 7 times over. We could easily employ young students from both school districts, from Luna, educate them in the part of local history that we have in Las Vegas. We are one of the richest areas of history. This place here in Las Vegas was the one that established the West. Come on, let's wake up and stop fighting over little political bullshit. Sorry about the language, but that's where it's at. Let's start spending the money right and move ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Any new business, Mr. Chairman? New business? All right, moving on with the regular order of the County Commission. Under item number 1, request for May 2018 County Commission meeting to be moved to Pecos, New Mexico on May 9th, 2018. Presenting Commissioner Varela.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. And last year we had a meeting in May. It was my first year as a commissioner, and we moved our meeting to Pecos, which Pecos is the other municipality besides Las Vegas in San Miguel County. And that's where I'm from. That's my district, and we're very proud of our all of our students, but especially our student athletes who really excelled in sports this last year. We had
boys basketball winning their second state championship in a row from last year after a 50-year drought. And we had this cheerleaders win their state competition as well as track. I think we're in baseball right now. I'm not sure what the season is and if we're done, but we have a lot of students, champions that we'd like to honor in Pecos and have our meeting there. In the past, the meetings in Pecos were in September, I understand, and I respectfully ask the commission again this year to have our regular county commission meeting in May in Pecos, so we can invite the Pecos Panthers, their family, the coaches, and the community to celebrate the victories, as well as have the rest of our business at that meeting, the regular meeting. So with that, I respectfully request that we move the May regular commission meeting to Pecos. And I stand for any questions?
Any question, discussion? All right, all in favor of moving the May meeting to Pecos, New Mexico? Need a motion?
I'll move to approve.
That's where I was going.
Okay.
I need a motion to approve the May.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Commissioner Padilla, second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Levaria. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Under item number 2, policy number CM-04-10-2018-CPR. This is regarding creating a policy on resolution, and I will go over that policy right now. This is San Miguel County Policy Proposed County Commission Resolutions. Many individuals and commissions request that the San Miguel County take a position on controversial subjects. Often there is strong advocacy by different groups on different positions. Before any decision is made in favor or against a resolution, it is the best approach that the elected or appointed officials fully understand the effects and implications of the resolution that they are voting upon. It is critical that the officials understand the different sides of a proposal before the county commissioners decide if they want to take a side and voice an opinion on this issue, on the issue. Since most resolutions involve complex issues, it is best that the Board of County Commissioners be reasonably informed on the benefits and detriments of any idea that they will vote upon. Wherefore, the county shall have the following approach to any issue which the county is asked to support. Number 1, if considered for the agenda, a standing resolution committee shall be appointed by the manager to investigate and research all proposed resolutions. Number 2, the committee shall visit with a representative of each side of the issue to understand what are the arguments in favor or against the resolution. Number 3, the committee shall send a report to the Board of County Commissioners. A recommendation not be provided. The committee shall also describe what efforts were made to investigate the resolution. Resolution shall not identify the sponsor. Number 4, if it is placed on the agenda, the committee shall identify 2 persons who will provide opposing testimony on whether to pass or deny the resolution. They shall have 5 minutes to present their arguments. Other interested members of the audience may also testify for a period of 2 minutes. Number 5, after this process has been completed, the matter shall be called for a vote on the resolution, which shall be tabled against or in favor. Shall be tabled against or in favor. Shall be placed on the agenda with the permission of the chairman. And number 6, this policy shall not apply to resolutions classified as emergency resolutions as determined by the chairman of the county commission. Passed and approved on the 10th day of April, 2018 by the Board of County Commissioners of San Miguel County, New Mexico. Any discussions? Call for a question?
I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Okay, this is the first time that I've seen this, and I'm just wondering if, has this been vetted through the Association of Counties, and is this a normal process for business? Because it's new and it seems, I don't know, redundant, and I'm not sure. There's a lot of questions I have. Who would be the committee, and that would be every resolution would go to them? I mean, I have a lot of questions. I don't want to dominate, but I'm just really curious about this whole
All right. And good, those are good questions. Counselor, would you fill us in on that?
Mr. Chairman, members of the governing body. The idea is to provide the commissioners with all the information, pro and con, on any resolution, so that they have time to make an intelligent, rational decision. One of the concerns expressed in the past was that sometimes a resolution is placed on the agenda 5 days before the meeting, and the commissioners don't have any information on the proposed resolution until they hear it at the meeting. It seemed a more efficient approach to have a committee of staff at least do some basic research on any issue, so they can talk about the intended, unintended effects of a proposal on a resolution, the detriments, the potential costs. And this is a normal process that has been used in other governmental entities where on expenditures of money or proposals, those department heads are each given a proposal, and that department head reports back usually to the finance director that this proposal will not have any effect on my budget or my staff, or this proposal may have some effect on my use of my staff or on the money it takes to accomplish it. Either way, what I like about the proposal is before you all consider anything, at least you have something in writing as to the pros and the cons of the idea without any recommendation from staff, and then you have somebody on each side who speaks intelligently, assuming that they know what they're talking about, which is the goal, to you about why the idea is good or bad. And then you also have the community participate, because two heads are always better than one, and they may have knowledge that you haven't heard or haven't seen, and they can also talk like we do any proposed resolution. So the idea is really to provide basic information on any proposal before you vote on it, so that you'll be making decisions based upon as much information as can be had within a short time.
I have a question. Let's use, for example, thank you, Councilor, the resolution that I will be putting forth in May to support, it's an easy one, support the champions of the school. So is it every resolution? Let's use that as an example, because that'll be my order of business next month. So does that mean the committee's going to look at every resolution, and what staff will be appointed? And you said community members also, and how? I don't know, there's just a lot, it's new to me, so I'm just curious.
As I read the proposed policy, every resolution, because it's hard to, not always so easy to decide what's going to be controversial or what is a simple for or against. I would assume that the committee would have a fast track for issues that you talked about, where you won't have anybody reasonably fighting a resolution in favor of the teams in Pecos. But maybe you will have differences or controversy of opinions if you're trying to have a resolution that says that the Pecos teams can beat the West Las Vegas teams in any sport at any time. So in answer to your question, the discretion is there to put the group together, the committee together from staff, and then staff just puts the pros and cons for you without recommendation, and staff tries to get people to say these are the arguments pro and con, and the public is invited to the meeting to also contribute as to the idea of pro and con.
At the time it's presented. And are there governmental entities that are using this model? Are counties following that?
I don't know what every county is doing, but I do know that many counties want to know, especially the finance director wants to know, how much is this going to cost us? It sounds like an inexpensive, logical idea, but is that the real cost that I have to worry about in my budget? Or sometimes streets, maintenance, maybe you're talking about parades. How much does it cost to clean up before or after a parade or an event? How much does solid waste cost? These things that we normally don't talk about with a resolution, at least the department heads know when they have to pay out of their own budget or like things in the past, and they can contribute within a quick period of time that this is how it's going to affect my budget or my workforce.
And would that hold up the process, do you think, in getting resolutions on an agenda? And one more question is, who would make a determination on whether something makes it to that list, whether it's controversial or not?
I would think that you can place a deadline, like say 10 days on staff to get the information as best they can to get it, okay? So, because we don't want to delay any resolutions. You come up with a resolution and it'll hopefully be heard at the next meeting if it's 10 days ahead. And right now we have on our ordinances a policy and procedure for the San Miguel County Commission, which states that it's the manager in consultation with the chairman who listens to the requests of the commissioners, but in the end, it's your administrative executive who makes the decision as to the agenda. This ordinance can be changed so that anything that goes through this process can be heard by you, so that nothing is kicked out. But you have to change the policy at this time, because right now it states something different. But I think the idea is, whatever the idea, let's get it heard, but let's make sure that you have all the information. It's not an idea to exclude anything, but to include with knowledge.
Any other questions, Commissioner?
That's good.
Any other comment? Yes, sir. Commissioner Lewis.
Thank you. I suggest that you send this resolution to a committee, because whenever someone has many questions that can't be answered right now, and it sounds like that's what you're trying to get to, when the commission is ill-informed on a policy matter. I have no problem with it. Santa Fe County had done something similar to this, but what launches the committee is when it's an agenda item and there's too many questions, just like Commissioner Varela just had here, a number of questions, and it's obviously there's not enough information for the commissioners, and that will start the process of a committee to do exactly what you want to do. That way, these easy resolutions, like supporting the Pecos Panthers, don't even have to go through this, and what launches it is there's too many questions from the commission for not being informed. Otherwise, it just sounds like it's an insult to the intelligence of the commission not being able to form an opinion on a resolution. However, if there is a resolution that needs more information, like Commissioner Varela just has, and there's probably another 10, 15, 20 questions that I would have of how this is going to be unfolded. Have you thought of that type of process, when after it gets to on the item, if there's not enough information, that's what launches the committee to come up with that information. The subjectiveness of it has a concern for me, and I certainly have no problem with and I have all the faith in the world with our chairman, but I don't think we should ever write rules that provide any commissioner with the potential for abuse of discretion, where the commissioner decides whether or not, subjectively, if something should go on the agenda. So I would like maybe a committee to look at this resolution to answer all these questions before we vote on creating a policy like this. That's my suggestion, and that's my thoughts on it. Thank you. I yield.
Yeah, I have a comment. I always do. I have a comment out of experience. So, a few years ago, they did a resolution, and the county manager at that time used my name on the resolution to push it. The resolution looked very good. It was supporting kids. It was to advance kids in higher levels and this and that. But when it came down to, it was a national thing. When it came down to the nitty-gritty, after reading that, I was consulted by another commissioner and said it's a political move. So it was some kind of political thing to get the resolutions passed, so that, but they were going to use my name, and so we denied it at that time, because after investigating a little bit, it turned out that it was kind of a national political fire, no? So we were able to turn it down. And so I do agree that we need a process for the resolutions, because some resolutions have been passed without any commissioner's knowledge other than the person that wrote it. And it comes to the board of commissioners, and then we're kind of forced to, not forced, but I mean, you're kind of asked to make a decision right off the top of the head without even knowing what the repercussions may be. So there is something to this, and we should have a process, and this would be a good start of a process. I'm not saying that it's the perfect one, but I think it's something to start with, because right now we don't have anything. So I think you understand where I'm coming from. There could be other repercussions on resolutions that we don't even know about, and that's good that we could check into it before we make decisions. Yeah.
I also agree with having a process like this. I think that we have very intelligent people that work for the county that could, we could put together a committee to research and investigate the resolutions that we're passing. There's always room for improvement in anything you do, but I believe that we need to have some sort of process. That way, when we're passing a resolution, we know what we're passing. We have information to support what we're passing and why we're passing it. So I'm in agreement with the passing of this resolution.
I do have a question that I hadn't thought about when we were doing this resolution. Is something that is so non-controversial as rewarding student athlete, should it go through a committee, or should we have a great conundrum there?
I think this resolution can always be tailored so that when there's an obvious support for an idea or a group of kids or a person who does well, then it can go right through without any delay. But I think it's like the commissioner said, everything needs a starting point, and then as we see how it works or doesn't work, then it can be tailored and brought back to you with an amendment. Let's change this. Let's tinker with this to make it a little bit better, faster, clearer.
Thank you. I agree that, we've made decisions on CUP without having all the information available to us, and we don't want to go against one of our fellow commissioners' resolution if we believe and trust that they've done due diligence research, and it's a good thing. But I think it could help us to have a process like this. I'm for it, but I think, I like what Commissioner Lubadi said about, if we're going to do it, let's start by having the committee look at this resolution before we actually adopt it. So that way, start with this one, and then from there develop it. That's just my opinion too. I agree with everything that's been said there, including what Commissioner Lubadi said about submitting this one to the committee if we're going to go that route.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Lubadi.
So the action you're asking is just to form a policy, or are you asking to adopt the policy that's on the backup, or to create a policy that will be a working document that we can all look at?
I think the way the agenda reads is to approve this proposed policy so that it starts off with this policy, and then we see how it works. And if it doesn't work as fast or as clear as we hope, we come back and we amend it.
I already don't like what this policy says. I would prefer that that we create a policy with the committee and inform the pros and cons and do exactly what your resolution is proposing, and give the commissioners all the information, pros and cons, on why this may or may not work, and the best way to launch a committee review possibly, would be something that I could support. I yield. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. These recommendations, Councilor?
I believe all the ideas are good ideas.
I guess what I'm asking is can we, but do we have to vote on this, or could we table it, being that there's been some very important questions brought up?
You can vote on it now as a starting point. You can table it, send it to committee for approval, development, ideas, or you can deny it.
At this time, just because of the questions that have been brought up regarding the things, especially and it concerns me, and I hadn't thought of that, about the non-controversial ones that we need immediate approval because we're moving fast. We're, say for instance, the student athletes, that we need approval. We're going to do a resolution supporting them. And are we going to have time to form committees? So at this time, I think what I'm going to entertain a motion to table this until we get more clarification. So based on that, I put it before the board on a motion to table this for the time being.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Motion made, second by Commissioner Ulibarri, second by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll table this item till the next meeting. Under item number 3, Resolution 2018-10-04, repeal. A resolution opposing the Department of Interior Bureau of Land Management proposal repeal of methane rules, which was intended to reduce and regulate methane leaking, venting, flaring from oil and gas companies. Commissioner Ulibarri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A little background. This rule was enacted during the last days of the Obama administration. New Mexico was number 1 in the hearings at the Office of Budget Management and BLM and the Department of Interior. It's a nation basically for the entire Southwest, but all the BLM land is either in South Dakota or in the Southwest, so it really doesn't affect the rest of the country. There was legislation to overturn it. It failed in the Senate, with John McCain being the deciding vote. So then, after that failure, the Department of Interior is trying to repeal this rule. New Mexico loses about $50 million. The last 5 years, the last count was $50 million in waste. Colorado implemented a similar rule like this, and the savings that they had with the waste earned Colorado more dollars capturing waste than they made in marijuana that year. So this is supporting our Senator Udall, Senator Heinrich, Congressman Ben Ray, and Michelle Grisham, who are all in favor, who are all against the repeal of the methane rule. And with that, I'll read into the record. San Miguel County Resolution number 2018-10-04-repeal, resolution opposing the Department of Interior Bureau of Land Management proposal to repeal of its methane rule, which is intended to reduce and regulate methane leaking, venting, flaring from oil and gas operations. Whereas energy development is critically important to the economy of both San Miguel County and the state of New Mexico. And whereas the state of New Mexico is among the nation's leading producers of oil and natural gas, and whereas oil and gas revenue is a cornerstone of New Mexico's educational funding, and whereas the United States Department of Interior Bureau of Land Management, BLM, has the authority and duty to ensure the fair return for publicly owned oil and gas resources under the Mineral Leasing Act of 1920, and whereas the BLM finalized a rule in November 2016 to reduce and regulate methane leaking, venting, and flaring from oil and gas operations on federal and tribal lands, and whereas the requirements of the rule were due to take effect in January of 2018 until the BLM announced a delay in implementation of the rule for 1 year until January of 2019. And whereas in February 12, 2018, the BLM proposed to repeal most of the provisions within the BLM methane rule. And whereas a recent National Aeronautics Space Administration study found that oil and gas operations remain the largest contributors of methane gas. And whereas a 2014 NASA study discovered a large and highly concentrated methane plume in the Four Corners region, where much of New Mexico's natural gas production occurs. And whereas in 2013, a report by ICF International Incorporated found that a significant amount of natural gas worth as much as $330 million was lost through leaking, venting, and flaring on federal lands and tribal lands, which is enough natural gas to provide the energy for 1.5 million homes for 1 year. And whereas the BLM does not charge royalties or charges reduced royalty rates on methane, the primary component of the natural gas that is leaked, vented, and flared. Whereas, according to the New Mexico State Senate Memorial 29, introduced by Senator Benny Shendo Jr. during the first session of New Mexico's 52nd legislature, nearly 45% of all BLM applications to flare royalty-free come from New Mexico. And whereas, according to Senate Memorial 29, estimates suggest that as much as 90% of the natural gas wasted through flaring could be captured or put to use. And whereas the state of Colorado saw a marked increase in natural gas production and the job creation after adopting the state rules that cut methane waste, some companies addressing the issue prior to the rules adopted by state. And whereas reducing methane waste would bring critical public health benefits to our communities located near oil and gas extraction and processing sites by simultaneously cutting the ground level ozone forming gases and cancer causing pollutants such as benzene and other volatile organic compounds. And whereas it is estimated that the BLM methane rule would generate $6.7 million to $8.1 million in royalties for New Mexico, additional revenue critical to helping to address the educational needs statewide. And whereas effort to eliminate methane emissions would likely create high-quality jobs, economic development, and domestic oil and gas manufacturing and service sectors, and provide much-needed royalty revenue to the state to invest in areas of greatest need. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of San Miguel opposes the BLM's proposal to repeal most requirements of the BLM methane rule. Be it further resolved that the Board of County Commission fully supports implementation of the BLM methane rule to reduce the wasteful venting, leaking, and flaring of natural gas from oil and gas operations occurring on federal and tribal lands, which rule protects the health, welfare, potential revenue rightfully due to the citizens of New Mexico. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be distributed to members of the New Mexico Congressional Delegation, members of the United States Senate, relevant to units of the United States Department of the Interior, including the BLM and the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and to the New Mexico Association of Counties. And if approved, it will be passed on the 10th day of April 2018 by the Board of County Commissioners, San Miguel, New Mexico.
Any discussion regarding this proclamation? Resolution? Discussion?
No discussion, I think it's a good one.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Janice Varela, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, Resolution 2018-10-18-DACA, a resolution to call upon federal representatives to support a legislative solution to DACA that offers opportunities for dreamers to stay in this country and ultimately have opportunities to those who wish to enhance their ability to contribute to our community and county by becoming citizens of our great nation. Commissioner, what do you believe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
Just reading to the record, San Miguel County Resolution number 2018-04-10 DACA. Whereas many people around the world would leave their home and country to come to the United States in pursuit of opportunities for them, their family, and their children, often enduring danger in their journey to unfamiliar land. And whereas facing many hardships in the search for a better life, immigrants bring their talents to work hard and contribute to our society, making us strong and vibrant and giving us a powerful advantage in global competition in an increasingly interconnected world. And whereas immigrants define who we are as a country and nation of adopted sons and daughters of their descendants, united by a common bond of freedom that we owe the Constitution of the United States and the men and women who defend our country. And whereas San Miguel County is home to a vast immigrant community with foreign-born individuals comprising, as part of its country's population, a valuable part of our economy and community. And whereas a comprehensive and functioning immigration system is essential to ensuring our counts and America's future economic prosperity, and whereas amid the wind down of deferred action for childhood arrivals DACA program, one of the most pressing concerns is the status of those who came to this country before adulthood. And whereas our law should give humane considerations to individuals who enter the United States as minor children and not treated as adults subject to the same penalties as if they were knowingly violating immigration law. And whereas established in 2012, DACA was a program that granted work permits to temporary protection from deportation to nearly 7,900 young people who came to the United States before the age of 16. There's a couple of typos here you might want to look at. Whereas DACA beneficiaries in San Miguel County are part of the local economy, school system, and colleges and universities. And whereas the looming expiration of the DACA program presents historic opportunity for Congress to offer a long-term resolution on this complicated aspect of immigration. And whereas there are several pending proposals in Congress that would enable a pathway to permanent legal status for young people who had DACA status. And whereas the county supports a timely legislative agreement that would help these young people. Now therefore be it resolved by the San Miguel County Board of Commissioners, incorporating the statements set forth above, that we call on our federal representatives to support legislative solutions to DACA that offer opportunities for dreamers to stay in this country, ultimately offers opportunities to those who wish to enhance their ability and contribute to our community and country by becoming citizens of our great nation. May it be further resolved that San Miguel County Board of County Commission also reiterate the need for comprehensive and non-discriminatory immigration reform. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of San Miguel County, by unanimously passing this resolution. And I'd only like to add, for the sake of, I guess, bipartisanship, this was written by a Republican county commissioner from California, who drafted the majority of this language.
Any discussion regarding Resolution 2018-10-18? Need a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Padilla, second.
Second that motion.
Second by Commissioner Varela. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5, Poverty Summit. Discussion to hold second Poverty Summit on June the 16th, 2018. Commissioner Ulibarri.
So I'm pleased to announce that the Poverty Summit, and I'm sure the manager will attest to it, and Commissioner Varela here, who also participated in the summit, was a total success. It went off without a hitch, and I was surprised how well it went. We're compiling. There was over 150 attendees. There was, I would imagine, 25 nonprofits. All the government agencies were present. You know, the county had representatives, the city, the Senate, the House, and many of the community leaders were there, and nonprofits. They'll be compiling all the data that was collected, and all the ideas and the ideas from the community in these breakout sessions. And the hope is to have another, and what we're asking for today is to approve Poverty Summit 2, which the community decided June 17th would be a good day, which is a Saturday, I believe, because of the people that couldn't go because it was a work day. And we disseminate all the information that we gathered and move forward to create a plan with all the entities involved, with the county, the city, Highlands, Luna, Guadalupe County, Mora County, to address our very drastic and dire needs for particularly our children in poverty in this area. And I'll stand for any questions if you have them.
Any questions for Commissioner Ulibarri?
Yeah, I was just curious. What type of information did you get? Did you get some kind of a sense of what people want to do with this, after the summits? I mean, what direction are we going, or, did you get any feedback as to where we should be, or where
We
we're
got
going?
thousands and thousands of pieces of data that we're compiling now.
Yeah.
We should have it all ready to present at the end of this month, which gives us 2 months to plan Poverty Summit 2, or a month and a half, whatever it is. So the breakout sessions were education, healthcare, criminal justice system, opioid, or I think that was involved in the criminal justice system, economics, wages, housing. So at each one of these breakout sessions, there must have been 20, 25 people who talked about it. And everybody wrote down at least one good idea in solving this problem. And then we collected that. Then they picked the top 5 from their group, and we collected that. So we've got tons of ideas, tons of very passionate people. And at the end, we had commitment statements. All the elected officials were asked to make a commitment statement. And I committed that I would bring forth the resolution and present it to this commission, outlining our commission. It would be so fantastic, Yolanda, if you could join me here. So to answer your question, we got tons of data, and we'll have it all compiled and organized by the end of the month and present it to this commission.
Not that you needed any help with that. Sorry, go ahead, I'll finish in a minute.
I was just going to ask Commissioner, since this is considered a tri-county poverty summit and San Miguel County did pay the facilitator, would it be possible if either Guadalupe County or Mora County could assist in the finance of this?
And that's what I would ask, that this commission direct the manager to see if we could all get some skin in this game, and even Highlands and Luna, and everyone that had a commitment statement to be a part of this. We have plenty of time to start addressing that.
And I have something I want to say. The facilitator that we get, I would recommend that it would be somebody from our area that knows our resources, that knows our people. I know the facilitator that came last time was from out of town. I'm not sure if, this person is probably well knowledgeable, knows about poverty, but do they know our people? Can they relate to our people? Can they relate to the resources we have, the difficulties our people are facing? So I would hope that we have a lot of well-educated people in our community. We could probably get somebody from our community that could facilitate this instead of bringing somebody from outside of town to facilitate this. That's my thought on this.
Mr. Chairman, and I really wish you would have been there, Commissioner Martinez, because and to change horses in the middle of the race would be kind of difficult. This master facilitator is also a member of a national organization, the campaign, the
Poor People's Campaign.
The Poor People's Campaign. It's a national movement that came and visited us and are using this as a model. And the facilitator only facilitates the conversation, and that's what his skills are, is to facilitate the conversation. He doesn't need to know the resources. He doesn't need to. He's not writing the plan. It's the community that's writing the plan. And to change horses in the middle of this race, I don't think is a good idea. I think the manager bragged to me for about 45 minutes on what a master facilitator he was. I've got compliments from just about everyone I've talked to, and I really wish you would have been there so you could have seen the action. But I think it would be a really bad move to change facilitators at this point.
And I'm not saying that he wasn't a good facilitator. I don't even know the gentleman. I've worked with poverty all my life. I worked for a Head Start program. I know our people in our community. I know how they react to certain people, how they do not. If they're going to open up to a person, if they're going to be able to speak the issues they're facing. So that's why I had recommended that. And I would have been there, but I'm sorry, I'm a devout Catholic, and it was Holy Thursday for me, and God's my number one, so that's why I wasn't there.
All right, just before, let me just add something before Ms. Cruz. And I apologize for not being there, but it was one of those days when my son's a school teacher. We take care of his kid. He could take care of his kid. My wife had medical issues that we had to attend to out of town. However, but my question is, and I will take care of it, bottom line, how much is it going to cost?
This last one cost us, what, $700?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, if we collaborate with Mora County, Guadalupe County, and they're willing to finance the facilitator, then it would be to their discretion through their procurement to bid it out and decide who they're going to pick to facilitate it, if they're willing to pay the facilitator fee.
Ms. Cruz, I apologize, go ahead.
No, that's okay. That's important discussion, and thank you for allowing me time on this. Just a couple of things that I wanted to say based on all of the discussion that's going on. We didn't do an RFP process, but I did contact people who I know facilitate events such as that and got different price quotes. And so Mr. Brown was the lowest price that we did receive at the time. There was an offer from Conalma to possibly provide one of their facilitators free of charge, but she was not available on that day. So he was the next lowest besides for you. It was a really, really great event. There was some good presentations, good panelists, and really the focus was to be the community and community discussion. And we asked the community what it was that they wanted, how they wanted to move forward from this. And besides wanting to get together, they asked for to get together like that at least on a quarterly basis. So, and beyond that, you know, we made sure that they knew that the work needs to primarily be done by them, right? By the community, by all of us together, not just looking at the elected officials to make whatever changes and to, you know, come in with a pen and fix all the problems, because we don't have the unlimited resources to do that. They can't just come up with ideas and expect that you guys are going to implement them. But also, you know, to work together to come up with some solutions, and then to work with the policymakers and elected officials, because obviously you guys work for us, right, for the community. So how do we work together on that end? And they did form committees on each, or work groups around each issue, and so they'll be working on prioritizing their ideas and coming up with a plan, looking at, you know, what resources might be available, and then the issues that need to come to the elected officials are what they'll bring back for your assistance in coming up with, in meeting those solutions. And so, as Commissioner Ulibarri stated, the facilitator is compiling all of that data and information. I do have some video recordings of the report outs from the committees, and I'll share those with IT. Maybe we can get those up on the website, and some of the different ideas that came out of that. And I have been in communication with some of those committees to see how to best support them in getting together, whether that's helping to facilitate phone, you know, helping to set up like a phone meeting, because we recognize that not everybody can travel to Las Vegas to meet on a committee, right? Do they want to meet by phone or Zoom or however that is? And those are free resources that we can help them set up. So, you know, just in moving forward with the work, but recognizing that this is community work, and hopefully community work that the different governing bodies will support.
Any further discussion?
I'd like to congratulate you, Yolanda, for a job well done, and Commissioner Ulibarri. I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't have high expectations. That we don't need inform us that we're for what we're doing about it. So that was my big thing, and so I didn't have a lot of, not sure what I expected, but I exceeded my expectations. And I thought that you guys did a great job. It was a great first start to this kind of discussion. There were some comments there about different people of different agencies, governmental representatives, nonprofits, people who are the poor people, you know, and you know, and like, how do we bring their voice in more without calling them out? And I think when someone said, well, who are the poor people, you want to point at them, because that's not right. And, you know, single them out and point them out real. I mean, we can probably all identify. Nobody asked me to see my checkbook. But anyway, I think it's good. I think it's good to continue that, and how we can improve it. And So I just want to congratulate you both for taking this on and starting this discussion.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion to approve the Poverty Summit on June 16, 2018. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Olivari, second.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Varela, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6, information on RFP for legal services for opioid litigation. Ms. Gonzalez?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, you guys have given us the direction to go ahead and do an RFP for legal services for an opioid case and lawsuit. And I just thought I'd present to you the facts tonight. I did meet with our county manager and county attorney to go over this and to present this to you as follows. Just to give you some notes on current facts, on February 9th, the county published a request for proposal for outside legal services. And during that period of time, February 9th to 16th, we emailed a total of 6 RFPs to different requesters. And then on February 21st, the county revised the RFPs to make it a little bit more clear and more clarification. The notifications were sent out to each of those 6 requesters who originally requested the RFP. We informed them that there would be a modification and that we would automatically provide them a copy of the RFP. And they were also informed that we'll also publicize this again once we revise the RFP. Then on March 9th, the new RFP will be published and the revised RFP was sent to the original 6 requesters. During the period of March 9th to March 16th, 2 additional companies requested RFPs for the services being requested. On March 22nd was the deadline to submit the RFPs, but there was no one to submit an RFP. Then on March 23rd, the next day, the county received an email from Civil stating that they just received the notice on March 16th and didn't have enough time to submit it at the time. So they indicated that they were going to submit their response on March 26th. And since the RFP was received after the deadline, the county conditionally accepted the RFP. We just told them that you might either just accept it as a whole, you might end up rejecting it, or you just need to make some determinations. And based on our meetings, it's my determination that the county has acted in due diligence to make this request for proposal available to any entity who would like to conduct business in San Miguel County and to promote competition. And based on the complexity and the urgency of the matter, I make the recommendation that the RFP be accepted and allow the county to negotiate with the terms and prices of the contract for these services with the law office of Sid Lopez in conjunction with David and Hewleston, the Vargas Law Firm, and the law offices of Felicia Partner. And those are some of the people that came and made a presentation.
The presentation was excellent. I think the one that we selected. And the key word is the urgency. So, based on this presentation, I'm asking that we a motion to approve Lopez Agency. Motion to approve. Second. Motion to approve. Motion made by Commissioner Varela, seconded by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? For the record, Commissioner Olivari had an emergency and had to leave, so he informed me of that. All right. Under item number 7, San Miguel County Regional Housing Authority Plan for 2018. Ms. Valdez, welcome.
Chair, Commissioners, can you hear me? I don't think this is working. Is that okay?
Move closer to my...
There?
That's better.
Better? Okay. This is a administrative action that requires annually. It is an approval of the annual plan for San Miguel Public Housing Authority. This plan, and you all were sent copies, I'm sure you've read it all. It's a pretty detailed plan, and what we're focused on this year is in agreement with the New Mexico Mortgage Finance Authority plan, which is VAWA, Violence Against Women Act, which is not only women, but we're focused on that, and homelessness, which sounds like you're all focused on. So I think not only the Housing Authority is in line with your goals and missions, but with San Miguel County's New Mexico Mortgage Finance Authority and HUD. And it is a administration approval that I need annually to submit to HUD.
Okay, this is an action item. I need a motion to approve San Miguel County Regional Housing Authority Annual Plan for 2018. Motion to approve.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Commissioner Padilla, second by
Second.
Commissioner Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think someone waited a little for Commissioner Varela. She had some concerns. The resolution 4-10-2018 on fire restrictions. Chief Duran, you would just give me just wait a little while. Commissioner Varela had some concerns that I think he wanted to address regarding possibility of as to whether we would have to have a public hearing on this. But we had, that issue came up last year. So here she comes. Commissioner Varela, you waited because you were concerned about this, the resolution 4-10-2018 concerning fire restrictions. Go ahead, Mr. Chief.
Good afternoon, Commissioner and members of the Commission. Today, I bring before you a resolution regarding fire restrictions. It is my understanding, because it is a resolution and we have a current existing ordinance, a public hearing isn't necessary, but if it's the wish of the Commission, we can definitely have input from the public regarding this resolution.
I don't think that we need to do any more resolutions than we want to. If it's okay, if we don't need them, I don't think that we should have a public hearing is what I'm saying. But there was a concern last year because when it did come up, and what happened is that because all of a sudden it got pretty dry and we were concerned about the fireworks and the fire danger. And at that time, we tried to pass a resolution, but it wasn't timely enough. So we were unable to do it. We contacted the people in Santa Fe at that time, and we couldn't.
Yeah, I do. Thank you. Just for point of clarification, thank you. So you said we have a resolution in place, and now we're going to adopt an ordinance, or is it the other way around? We have an ordinance in place, and we're adopting a resolution.
Okay, we have an ordinance in place addressing fire restrictions, and this is a resolution implementing some of the restrictions out of that ordinance.
Okay, thank you. I think you said the opposite, or I heard it backwards. So, okay, so we don't need a public hearing because we already have the ordinance.
Correct.
Okay. And I think that's what we missed last year, was we didn't have time to have a public hearing to adopt an ordinance, but we have one. Did we do it last year, or is it done before?
We didn't do it because it wasn't timely enough, so we actually...
But you say we do have an ordinance in place, though?
Yeah.
Correct.
And when was that one implemented, that ordinance?
Commissioner Varela, I believe what you're referring to last year is pertaining to fireworks. Specific to fireworks.
And does this include fireworks or just fires?
This is fire restrictions for open burning.
Oh, okay.
The state statute identifies the process for doing fireworks restrictions, which next month is probably the next step we will be going through to impose restrictions for fireworks.
And exactly, we will have to have a public hearing for that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I was putting them in the same basket. They're apples and oranges.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other concerns, discussion? Okay, regarding resolution -4-10-2018 fire restriction, I need a motion to adopt this resolution imposing fire burning restrictions.
I make a motion.
Moved by Commissioner Padilla, second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Varela, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief Duran. Item number 9, USDA grant spec building, Old Wood. Update on spec building currently being used by Old Wood. Mr. Tapoya.
Good afternoon. As you may be aware, the building referred to as the spec building at the county's Wood Business Park was a building, or is a building, that was funded by a USDA grant of $500,000. And that building was constructed for the purpose of providing economic development opportunities in San Miguel County to small and emerging businesses. We received a phone call from USDA office in Albuquerque on another USDA-funded project, just to ask for an update on that other project. And then during the conversation, a by-the-way question was asked. By the way, what's going on with the building that was funded by USDA? Just a brief little history before I act. And this was the answer I gave. The county entered into a lease back in July of 2015 with the Economic Development Corporation, where the county leased the building, the USDA building, the spec building, to EDC, and that lease permitted EDC to sublease the building to Old Wood LLC. Prior to Old Wood LLC, the Frugal Casket Company was using that building. Then there was a project participation agreement between the county and EDC, which provided that the EDC would act as an agent of the county and Old Wood LLC. In August 2015, there was a sublease between EDC and Old Wood LLC for that building. Again, I would note that the construction of the building was funded by a grant from USDA, and the sublease provides for lease fees based in part upon the number of jobs created by Old Wood. The lease fees come out to 90 cents per square foot. The lease doesn't seem to indicate how the figure was determined. The development agreement entered into between the county and EDC requires that rent of project sites must be based on fair market value. And USDA pointed out, they ended up asking for a copy of the lease agreements between the contract between the county and the Economic Development Corporation in regard to management of the building. USDA pointed out that the USDA office pointed out that USDA regulations require rent to be based upon fair market value. So I was asked for a copy of the fair market value appraisal, which we do not have, so I couldn't provide that. So essentially, in giving and providing that brief information as concerns the spec building, USDA requested a copy of the contract between the county and the Economic Development Corporation in regard to management of the building. That contract's under review, as well as the lease agreement. And the initial observation by USDA is that EDC can be the property manager and receive rent payment as part of its property management duties. However, the rent payments must be turned over to San Miguel County and placed in an appropriate account. And the USDA regulations govern how such rent payments are to be collected, accounted for, and for what purpose the rent payment funds can be used. We were advised that the county cannot use an organization or a third party as a pass-through for such rent payment funds, and the USDA is of the initial opinion that that's what is going on, that we're using a third party as a pass-through for the funds. It was pointed out that if USDA comes to do an audit and asks the county manager or the finance director for the financials in related to rent and how it's collected, what the money is used for, and so on, we most likely won't be able to provide that. That's not in compliance with USDA regulations. So the agreements between the county and EDC in regard to that building, in regard to what their duties are going to be reviewed And then the county is going to be advised accordingly in regard to whether the county is in compliance with the appropriate USDA regulations or not. So in discussing this with the county manager, he determined that we needed to bring this information to you so that you're aware of it. That way, when USDA lets us know, whatever it is they let us know, it will not be a surprise. And that's pretty much it as far as that goes. The other project, by the way, that USDA asked about was a truck and trailer that was purchased by using USDA grant funds for another project. And the truck and trailer has been, what's the word?
Depreciated.
Depreciated out, yes. So USDA advised the county that the county could do whatever they chose to do with that truck and trailer. If the truck and trailer had not been depreciated out, we could not use that truck and trailer without approval, for a purpose without approval from USDA. So it's been assigned to, I believe, Public Works or somebody is now using that. That just happened about a month ago. But that's just a little update on what's going on with that particular building. Again, that way when USDA lets us know whatever it is they let us know, it won't be a surprise to any of us.
All right, that item was, agenda item was for informational purposes only. Any discussion regarding this?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, for clarification, you mentioned that Old Wood is required to pay a rent to EDC, is that correct?
The lease agreement requires Old Wood to pay a rental fee or a lease fee. And so the legal staff at USDA took a look at that agreement just real briefly and got back to me and indicated, well, who is Old Wood paying the lease payments to? And I responded, well, according to a lease agreement, they're paying it to EDC. And that was when I was told that the county cannot use a third party, EDC or another organization, as the term was a pass-through for the rent payments. The rent payments, USDA said it's not your money, it's not the county's money, it's our money, USDA's money. And so what they told me is that the payments need to be paid to the county. And then the county can use that payment for whatever purposes are allowed under the USDA rules and regulations. So USDA would have to approve the use of funding or whatever that money is. So this was a series of probably 5 different telephone calls during about a 1-week period, back and forth as they were looking at the documents and asking me questions. And then finally, program manager told me that everything was being turned over to their legal staff and they would review it and then get back to us. But she didn't have a time frame, so it's already been the beginning. It's already been since the first week of April, and I haven't heard anything back. I don't know if the county manager has. Haven't heard anything back. But when I met with the county manager to tell him about the phone calls and what was going on, he felt that we probably should advise the county commission just so that they're aware of it.
Any other discussion?
So EDC, well, Old Wood is paying EDC this money. They've been paying them this money all along, which should have been going to the county. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So how do we get that money back to the county?
I don't know. I guess I could. I don't know. I don't know how to answer it. That's why we're bringing it to bringing this information to the county so that perhaps we can get direction at some point on how to address this based, we'll maybe wait and see what USDA tells us. But I don't want to speculate anything, so.
Because this money should have been given to the county, and the county has a certain criteria as to how they can spend it, correct?
Yes.
Do they have to give it back to USDA?
Yes, and then we have to we have to request approval for the use of the funds. And basically, it's to be used for small and emerging businesses, and small and emerging business is a business with gross annual revenues of less than 1 million and in employees under 50 employees. I was asked how many employees is Old Wood have, and I was unable to answer that because I don't know. So that some of those questions started raising a little bit of a red flag. And again, this was 4 or 5 phone calls over the period of a week or so, the first week of April, so they'll get back to us and let us know what we need to do. Regulations are probably 200 pages thick, so it was a little, they couldn't answer some of the questions either, so.
All right, anything else? Sure. All right, thank you, Mr. Tafoya.
Mr. Chairman, in response to your question, if I may add, it seems to me that what I hear is that the money is supposed to be going directly to the county instead of to EDC, and then the county should redistribute it. And your question goes, how do we collect the past monies? Maybe the first thing we do is just send a letter to EDC to make sure that from this point forward, the monies come directly to us. As the second part, then we look at the past monies and see how we'll handle them, rather than waiting any longer.
All right. Moving on to item number 10, Fair Housing Proclamation, Mr. Tafoya.
As part of the Community Development Block Grant Program, typically the month of April is the month that fair housing is acknowledged. So in using the Fair Housing Proclamation provided by the CDBG program, I am asking the Board of County Commissioners to declare April 10th, which is today, Fair Housing Day in San Miguel County. The proclamation is a very brief proclamation. It reads, whereas fair and equal housing is a right guaranteed to all Americans, and whereas the principle of fair and equal housing is a fundamental human entitlement, and whereas all citizens have the right to live where they choose within their financial means, and whereas people must not be denied housing because of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, handicap, or familial status, and whereas we must, as individuals, assure equal access to housing for all in our communities, and whereas San Miguel County acknowledges the importance of assuring fair and equal treatment to all citizens. Therefore, I, Chris A. Najar, Commission Chairman, do hereby proclaim April 10th, 2018 as Fair Housing Day, and we would ask that the proclamation be approved and that Chairman Najar sign the proclamation.
All right, any discussion regarding this proclamation? Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Varela, need a second. Second by Commissioner Padilla, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 11. Resolution number -4-10-18, Upper Town, San Antonio. Mr. Tafoya.
At the March 13th, 2018 County Commission meeting, the Board County Commissioners held and conducted a public hearing in regard to consideration of projects for a community development block grant application. And upon conclusion of the public hearing, the Board of County Commissioners selected the Upper Town San Antonio Road and Drainage Project as a project for a 2018 community development block grant application. The selection of the project must be finalized by a resolution adopted by the governing body. So we're asking that the Board of County Commissioners adopt resolution number 04-10-18- Upper Town San Antonio, and this resolution is the resolution template provided by the Community Development Block Grant Program. We're asking for approval of that and to authorize the County Commission Chairman to sign the resolution. The resolution.
Discussion from the Commission?
Just point of clarity, so did we approve this action last week, but we're just doing the resolution now?
Yes, because we didn't know what project was going to be selected, so we didn't have a resolution prepared. And the resolution is part of the application. Yes.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve.
Second. Approved by Commissioner Varela, second by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Motion number 12, amendment to business license ordinance. That is yours as well, Mr. Tapia.
What we're doing here is the county issues business licenses throughout the year to, as per ordinance. We have a business license ordinance. And what we've found over the past several months is individuals, organizations coming in to obtain a county business license. And we have found that some of the individuals or organizations requesting a business license also need a certificate or a license approved and issued by various state agencies of the state of New Mexico, such as the New Mexico Environment Department for septic tank installers, for example, the Department of Health for individuals performing the services of a midwife, the Public Regulation Commission for individuals operating non-emergency medical transport service businesses, and businesses of that nature. So what we started doing is when someone comes in, and this all started pretty much when someone came in for a zoning development permit, listed a septic tank installer who was not licensed by the Environment Department to install septic tanks. So we didn't issue the zoning development permit until that person hired a licensed septic tank installer. And so what we started doing is verifying with the different state agencies if individuals or organizations have the appropriate state license. And we received, for example, two separate applications for business licenses for individuals who want to perform the services of a midwife. So we asked each of them for a copy of their state license, and one had the state license and the other one did not. Mobile food truck businesses have to be licensed have a food service permit issued by the New Mexico Environment Department. So we've had 3 or 4 come in and we ask them for a copy of their current New Mexico Environment Department food service permit. We have 2 non-emergency medical transport service businesses come in for a business license. One has their certificate issued by the Public Regulation Commission, so we issued a business license. The other one does not. And so it was pointed out by the 2 individuals that I work with, well, you know, our business license ordinance doesn't require us to verify state business licenses. So what we're asking, the purpose today is to ask the Board of County Commissioners for authorization to proceed with amending a section of our current business license ordinance and add a paragraph. This is just a draft. We'll run this by the county attorney and the county manager before we bring it back to the county commission, but it would be a paragraph to section 1-1-10, which reads paragraph 1-1-10.1. It shall be the duty of all persons, firms, corporations, or associations to return said application, which would be the county business application, with copies of all current and appropriate license, certificate, or permit issued by the relevant agency or department of the state of New Mexico, which authorizes such person, firm, corporation, or association to conduct business and operate within the state of New Mexico. Very simple paragraph letting the individual or the organization know that they need to provide us with a copy of their state certificate or permit. It's my opinion that if we issue a business license to someone who's not properly licensed by the state, that the county could be placed in some sort of a liability situation. So we're asking for authorization to proceed that way. And if we get that authorization from you, then we'll bring back the appropriate resolution with this language to amend the ordinance and start the public hearing process. So we would ask for that authorization.
Okay, any discussion?
I think it's important. I was on Planning and Zoning Commission, and there was a separate matter, but then question came up of where the material oil was being taken to a facility to be burned, and I kept asking, are they permitted? Do we have a copy of it? So I think this is a really good move. So I think that we need to go in that direction.
Okay.
All right.
Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman?
Okay.
To approve the resolution.
Yeah, I'm asking for a motion to approve the amendment to the business license ordinance.
That makes a motion.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Padilla, any second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Varela, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
All right. Under item number 13, resolution number 3-13-18, RA01, addition to Apostol Santiago, a proposed name that will replace County Road vacated C53B to the official E11 road list in the County of San Miguel. Mr. Trujillo.
Commissioner, Chairman and Commission, Dr. Martinez. We received a road name petition on February 7th, 2016, requesting that vacated County Road C53B be renamed Apostol Santiago. The road is located in the Mays area, which is located in the northeastern two-thirds of the county. Per San Miguel County Ordinance number SMC CC-07-13-99-ORD-2, Section 4.1, proposed to San Miguel Board of County Commission, please review and take appropriate action on road naming for any private road that provides access to 3 or more buildings and requires a name in order to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the public. The road naming petition exceeds the simple majority of the current residents/landowners' signatures agreeing to the name of Apostol Santiago. This name has been determined to be acceptable by the SMC rural addressing staff per San Miguel County Ordinance. The petitioners have paid the $100 fee required for road naming change as per San Miguel County Ordinance, SMC 07-13-99-ORD.2, Section 4.3-A. Before we proceed, I'd like to just comment that by submitting an application, that should not imply privatization or ownership. So with that being said, this issue has been reviewed by the county attorney and deemed in compliance with ordinance and the law. And at this time, we're requesting approval of this resolution.
Discussion.
I have a question. Is that road under litigation, or has it been on litigation at any time that you know of, Mr. Romero? Or is there potential litigation pending on that road? Or abandonment of that
The
road?
potential litigation, I don't know. And probably the person who knows best is Mr. Garcia, who knows that road as far as answering that question as to past litigation.
Do you have anything to say on that road?
Yes, sir.
Can you allow him to speak, just to see what?
Commissioners, Mr. Attorney, I am officially requesting that you deny this petition because the petitioners did not comply with the ordinance. It says that all landowners that abut the C-53B road were not given the opportunity to sign for or against the road name change. I submitted a notarized, signed affidavit to San Miguel County yesterday and registered with the San Miguel County Clerk, indicating that there are 14 separate and distinct landowners that abut the road or are near the road. So the party submitted 4 signatures, and in order to have a majority out of 14, they needed to have submitted 8 signatures. So they failed to get the majority of signatures for their petition. The above information in the affidavit is from the owner report and San Miguel County parcel identification map provided by Ms. Elaine Estrada, San Miguel County Deputy Assessor on 10/14/2016, printed by J. Phillips. The San Miguel County Road Name Petition form states on the policy of road name approvals, item number 3. All property owners must sign this petition either for or against the names requested. Only one name per household, vacant lot, or business. And this is where the supervisor made a mistake, because the first petition was submitted in 2016 and we had John Tiernan as supervisor, and he made the determination that there were 5 addressed structures. So he told the parties that they needed 3 signatures to have a majority of the 5 addressed structures. Well, the ordinance does not call for that. The ordinance clearly calls for the signatures of all landowners, and there are 14 landowners, and I've submitted an affidavit. So Mr. and Ms. Purdy did not circulate the petition to all 14 landowners as required. So they needed to have circulated the petition to all the landowners so that the landowners could either sign for the name change or against the name change. Thus, the Purdy petition is not a good faith petition. Mr. and Mrs. Purdy did not meet the requirements of San Miguel County Ordinance SMC 07-1399-ORD-2. So there is potential litigation. The issue of the road is not over. Today I received a draft. I'm moving forward to file an injunction against Mr. and Mrs. Purdy for restricting access to the roadway and access to the church. They currently have the roadway chained and locked. Mr. and Mrs. Purdy went in 2013 to the first judicial district and were able to get a restraining order which didn't quite, meet what they wanted to get. They wanted to prevent me from photographing them, and the district attorney had told me that I must video record any interactions with them because Mr. Purdy had threatened me with a shotgun, had harassed me, and had criminally damaged my fence. So the judge denied that in their restraining order. Then they asked the judge for her to not allow me to sue them, and she told them that, well, I can't do that either. So what she did is she wanted to try to meet the middle ground, and she did end up giving a restraining order on the definition of the use of the 2 roadways. So the restraining order specifically states that the respondent, me, can use the road labeled as C-53B, okay? So this is just a thinly veiled attempt by the Purdys to bypass that restraining order. So that restraining order allows me to use the road. If they change the name of the road, then what's the intent of that restraining order and what's the meaning of that restraining order? So the road already has a name, C-53B Road. There are already E911 emergency addresses assigned with that road. My address is 188 County Road C-53B. So the county does not need to enter into any extra expense to rename a road that already has a name and that already has structures addressed off that road. It would just be a waste of time and money. So Mr. Purdy has assaulted me, 4th-degree felony assault with firearms, harassed me, and did criminal damage to my property. Mr. Purdy was convicted. The C-53B road is well known to law enforcement. A new road name would put me in danger because it would not be known to officers, and that would submit you to potential liability. So, as I said, we're moving forward to file an injunction against Mr. and Mrs. Purdy. We're also filing in court to quiet the title of the road, and the new resolution that's introduced by Mr. Nahad would have prevented this. It was a very ill-advised recommendation by the then county manager, Les Montoya, to vacate the road, and the county vacated the road without the prior permission of the state Department of Finance Administration, which is required. So there is certainly still legal exposure to the county. And it's not only me, there's 13 other landowners. So Nancy Greenberg is going to join me in this lawsuit. And if the other landowners don't join, they certainly are going to be called as witnesses. And it's highly likely that Mr. Tafoya and anybody else that had anything to do with the vacation of that road will be also called as witnesses. So Mr. Purdy has damaged the C-53 public road with his vehicles and heavy equipment since 2009. He is attempting to keep me from accessing my property. This past October, he used his bulldozer during a rainstorm and cut the crossing of the road on the Arroyo. So he thought he was going to be able to hide the tracks of his bulldozer by running over them with his vehicles, but I have pictures of some of the tracks. So he continues to affect my egress and ingress. So thus, the Purdy petition must be denied. Thank you very much.
I guess I have one more question, Mr. Romero, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
By us changing, allowing the name of the road to be changed from a county road to a private road, would that change anything as far as if we have litigation, we go to one side or the other?
I think what you're asking is, when we change the name of the road, does that cause any potential litigation for us? And the answer is probably no, although you cannot guarantee that we will be sued for almost anything we do or we don't do. I guess what disturbs me here is there's just too much past civil litigation and animosity that is going on regarding the name of a road. And I can hear the arguments on both sides. But I don't think those arguments are enough to stop you from considering and voting on it. On the other hand, I see the whole issue of name changes as for roads just causes turbulence among neighbors. Everybody wants a road to be named after their family generally. It's an honor. But what happens when the family changes and sells the property and we're going to change it again? I guess I'm a little bit worried about emergency vehicles or law enforcement trying to find the road. Right now we have a system, it's not always easy to find a road, but at least we know where L24DS is on our maps. But once you start changing road names to Penny Lane, Garcia Alley, Garcia Lane, Garcia Roadway, Garcia, then it makes it difficult anywhere to try to find what you're looking for. And I would like to recommend to the manager that at least in the future, we, after talking with our staff, that we don't have to consider name changes, because I don't see the benefit except in the family whose names are changed feeling good about the road that leads to the house. I could be wrong. That's why we need to ask our staff to make sure we know if there are any other pros and cons. In answer to your question, though, what I said is, do we face liability by changing the names? And I would say reasonably no, but anybody can sue for anything else.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
One more question. So in essence, he'll have to change his address, or can he still leave it like that, even though it's not going to be a county road name? Because that affects the 911 is what I'm saying.
It does, it sounds to me like if I'm at the post office and I'm getting mail somewhere, and now the name has changed, then it probably means the people who had that address now have to change their mailing address.
In this particular case,
Thank you.
in this particular case, their mail is through the Trementina post office. There is some financial impact in having to change the address on property deeds, those types of things. So there is some financial impact to the resident.
All right, listen up.
So changing the road name would affect me. My address is 188 County Road C53B. I have my PO box here in Las Vegas, New Mexico, and Mr. Diego is correct that we're off of Trementina because there's no zip code at Mage, New Mexico. However, my license, my driver's license requires a physical address. So my physical address on my driver's license is 188 County Road C53B. So if the road name is changed, I would be forced to go and get a new address. And so there are other landowners probably which don't have a driver's licenses from there. I think the police have their driver's licenses out of Los Alamos. So you would be causing me damages.
All right. All right, we'll move on with this. This was continued from the March meeting. We had it on the agenda. Mr. Garcia protested it, so we rescheduled it so you could do some research. And what you did?
Yes, sir.
On the individuals that live on that road.
Yes, we provided Mr. Romero with several documents and the changes associated with the distance on that road, and have come to the determination that it is a 3.2 mile road, and that those that participated in the initial petition were abutting properties and were within the confinements of the ordinance. So it is not for us to determine or involve our opinion, it's to enforce it as it reads. And in this case, that petition did comply with the ordinance.
All right. So at this time, Mr. Garcia, this time I'm going to put it to a vote. Because, like I said, we did continue it from the March meeting. At this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the name change for Apostol Santiago Road. Anybody, a motion to approve?
Excuse me, didn't you say?
Motion to approve? Motion to approve? Motion dies, lack of a motion or lack of a second. Motion does not pass. Under number 14, resolution number 4-10-18 RA04, addition to Camino Soledad, a newly named private road to the official E911 road list of San Miguel County.
Chairman, Commissioners, Dr. Martinez, during a routine audit of San Miguel County addressing data, it was discovered that there are 8 address structures and 3 additional properties on a single road driveway located off County Road B41B in the San Jose area. Per San Miguel County Ordinance, SMC 07-13-99-ORD-2, Section 4.1-C, proposed to San Miguel County Board of County Commissioners, please review and take appropriate action on the road name for any private road that provides access to 3 or more public buildings and requires a name in order to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the public. On July 19th, 2017, letters were sent to the residents and property owners affected by the county's intent to name the road/driveway with the option to name the road. 46%, 5 of 11 of the residents/property owners returned a road name petition with 3 possible road names. A follow-up letter was sent on February 5th, 2018 to residents and owners informing them of San Miguel County's intent to accept the road name petition. The recipients were given 30 days to respond if they were in disagreement. To date, we have not received a reply. The name has been determined to be acceptable by San Miguel County Rural Addressing Staff per San Miguel County Ordinance, SMC-7-13-99-ORD-2. Because this road name was required and not requested by the residents, the $100 fee has been waived. At this time, we're requesting the approval of road name.
Any discussion regarding this resolution?
Camino Soledad.
Discussion, I need a motion to approve resolution number 4-10-18 RA04.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Commissioner Padilla, second. Second by Commissioner Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 15, resolution number 4-10-18 RA02, addition of Paradise Lane, a proposed name for a private driveway added to the official E91 road list of San Miguel County, New Mexico. Mr. Trujillo.
On February 6, 2018, Ms. Garza was requesting an address for a new residence through the county's planning and zoning permitting process. It was determined that all addresses were exhausted where her property is located adjacent to County Road B47A in Tecolote. The County E91 office requested that Ms. Garza submit a road naming petition for her driveway. The submitted petition has been determined to be acceptable by SMC rural addressing staff. Ms. Garza is the only resident that will be affected by this new road name. Therefore, only one signature is required. Per San Miguel County Ordinance SMC-7-13-99-ORD-2, Section 4.1-C, proposed to San Miguel County Board of Commissions, please review and take appropriate action. The petitioner has paid the $100 fee required for the road name as per San Miguel County Ordinance. At this time, we request approval of road name Paradise Lane.
Any discussion regarding resolution number 4-10-18 RA2? Motion to approve by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner Varela. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving to item number 16, resolution number 4-10-18 RA03, addition to Pittsburgh Nelly Lane, a newly named road, private road on the official E911 road list of San Miguel County, New Mexico. Mr. Trujillo.
During a routine audit of San Miguel County addressing data, it was discovered that there are 3 address structures on a single driveway located off New Mexico Highway 94 in Tierra Monte area. For San Miguel County Ordinance SMC 07-13-99 ORD-2, Section 4.1-C, proposed to San Miguel Board of County Commissioners, please review and take appropriate action on road name for any private road that provides access to 3 or more buildings and requires a name in order to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the public. Letters were sent to the residents on November 9, 2017, informing them of San Miguel County's intent to name the road. The residents returned a road naming petition, and 2 of the 3 current residents agreed to the name of Pittsburgh Nelly Lane. This name has been determined to be acceptable by SMC rural addressing per San Miguel County Ordinance. Because this road name was required and not requested by the resident, the $100 fee has been waived. At this time, we request approval of road name Pittsburgh Nelly Lane.
Any discussion regarding this resolution number 4-10-18 RA03? Need a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Varela, second by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 17, second extension agreement, San Miguel County Detention Center Facility Janitorial Services, Laundry Products, Detergents, Bleach, etc. Warden, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. This is the second extension on a 4-year contract for janitorial supplies for the detention center. The entire contract will remain fully in force, and there is no price increase on this contract. Your approval is requested.
Okay. Motion to approve by Commissioner Varela.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 18, San Miguel County, New Mexico Summit Food Service Commissary Services Management Agreement. Mr. Warden.
Okay, Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager, this is the second extension on a 4-year contract for food services to provide meals for the inmates at the county detention center. Along with this amendment is a consumer price index increase of 2.4% as allowed by their in their contract, original contract language, which increases the meal price on a sliding scale by 0.06% of 0.6 cents.
Motion to approve food services contract, San Miguel County Detention Center, moved by Commissioner Varela, second by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Item number 19, thank you, Warden. Item number 19, Public Works Division report for the month of March 2018. Mr. Lopez.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Arnold Lopez here with Public Works with our monthly report for the month of March. So we had one of our motor grader operators, Peter Vigil, in Sena, a road that was requested for improvement. We applied base course to this particular road. We surfaced it completely, providing a good driving surface for the residents in Sena. And that was completed, and then he went on to B29A, provided maintenance to that road, and then we moved him over to the Pecos area. We had some requests there, some bad roads, so we addressed B52, Joya del Padre, and then we moved on to B44A and B44B, and the lower and upper colonias, and then also in the Cow Creek area. And Peter right now is back in the Gonzalez Ranch area. We had a road request there of a road in bad condition, so he is addressing that as we speak. And then Johnny Trujillo, our other motor grader operator, has been, we spend a lot of times in the Ojitos Frios area over on County Road A20 and then also on A19A. We've applied a lot of material. There was a portion of this road that didn't get addressed by the road revenue money. So we're trying to complete the whole loop through San Jeronimo, back into San Pablo, and then come out back in Ojitos Frios and into Romeroville. We've applied a lot of material, lifted the road, provided a lot of drainage structures, culverts were placed, and new cutouts for drainage were also addressed. And then meanwhile, we had a little break and we went over to Pork Chop Road also and addressed the bad areas there. Johnny is currently over in the Bernal area on B26, addressing some erosion and stuff on that road. And basically, we've just been busy doing maintenance on roads and addressing, different drainage issues that we're going to start preparing for when we do get the heavy rains. So that's the next plan. We'll be addressing some of the roads that we have problems with the flooding last year and to prevent hopefully any flooding this year.
Thank you for doing the work that you're doing. It really helps that you're responding, and people have been very pleased. People, they say thank you, but can you go that extra half mile? Can you bring more materials? So my question, I want to thank you and your crew for doing a fantastic job and responding to these needs. Is there, a lot of times when they ask for additional material, is that something you can accommodate, or does it just depend on what you think and what we have available? How does that work?
Yeah, usually what we use different methods to determine which road has priorities. Some of it being maybe higher areas that have more residents, heavier populated areas. We tend to provide a little more assistance because obviously we're providing a service for a lot more residents. If there's just one on a lengthy county road, of course, to go and spend all our resources on a lengthy road to address the road just for one family or two, is a little bit difficult. So in situations like that, but nevertheless, we do provide maintenance because again, taking materials out to these roads requires a lot of time hauling and basically the hauling. Unfortunately, our crusher, we have that generator problem issue that we're still working on. I had Caterpillar come over today, P&M, and we are going to hardwire it, and the crusher facility. But unfortunately, they require engineering, and it's kind of a lengthy process. So we're kind of aiming back to replacing that generator. So they should have me a cost estimate hopefully in a day or two. And then once we get the crusher back up, we'll be crushing more materials and applying more materials. We've used up all our stockpile. We had a lot of material and it's been all used up now. So
Those look great.
yeah.
I went to Maria's district for a cruise and it's really nice. When you look at county roads are better than a lot of our state roads.
Right, yeah. And I invite you again to try and visit the Ojitos Frios area, and look at that road. That's a big improvement, and we're pretty proud of that area.
Thank you, Mr. Lombriani. Just a bridge on Cayuncito, the Banduelitas, the decking. Do we have any dates as to when you're going to start that, or?
Morris is taking care of that, and unfortunately he's not here right now, but we have basically contracted with a contractor And there was just some details I know that they were ironing out so we could get started on that project. And then also on the White Barn Road, we're about 2 weeks out to start that project.
Good, because I've been there a lot.
Yeah, I just
That
spoke,
bridge is pretty bad as well.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just spoke to the contractor and that one will be addressed, like, well, starting in about 2 weeks probably.
One of the door greeters at Walmart lives on that road. And I can't go to Walmart anymore.
You're right.
I
don't believe it.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Arnold.
I'll let him know. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Item number 21, recommendation to approve job description of narcotics detective with the San Miguel County Sheriff's Division. Ms. Cedillo.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. Actually, I need to take you back one because it looks like item number 20 is a little hidden.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Item number 20, status update on revised personnel policy. Informational purposes.
Yes, informational purposes. When I was hired in November of 2016, this was one of my objectives and goals. So slowly, this has been a long process, but the personnel policy is very close to being completed. More than likely, it'll be presented at one of either the May or the June commission meeting for commission action. I've placed a hard copy in each of your boxes. So it's fun reading. Right now there's 52 pages. I think I probably need to add like a couple more items, and we're pretty close to being finished with that. It's so hard. The way I've explained in the past is that you want it to be perfect, and it's never going to be perfect. So we got to get it as close to perfect as we can. We're trying really hard. So I want to recognize and thank, first of all, the committee that has helped me to get this far. Tasha Martinez, Morris Madrid, Alex Tafoya, Matt Alwell, Justin Garcia, Yolanda Cruz, Gary Gold, and Don Kreider. We met about 5 times throughout the year in 2017, from April to November. And an invitation was sent out to all San Miguel County employees to review the draft of the policy, and we met on March 22nd, and approximately 20 employees were present and provided input and insight. And we will have one more meeting with the county staff to go over the draft again.
I was going to ask you a question. Is that a complete revision, or is that just like a supplemental? Or
No, this will replace what we currently have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the new one?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else for Cedillo? Let's move on to item 21 now, recommendation to approve job description for narcotics detective. Cedillo.
So before you have the job description of narcotics detective with the San Miguel County Sheriff's Division. This is a new position. This position will be working collaboratively with the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office and the Las Vegas Police Department, New Mexico State Police Department, as well as all other law enforcement agencies to combat illegal drug use and distribution within San Miguel County.
Any discussion regarding this proposal? Motion to approve made by
Second.
Commissioner Martinez, second by Mr. Padilla. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 22, personal actions or changes for the month of March 2018. Ms. Cedillo.
In your packet, you have all of the personnel actions and changes that have taken place for San Miguel County in the month of March 2018, submitting for your approval and ratification of these actions or changes.
Okay. Need a motion to approve personal actions or changes for the month of March? Motion to approve made by Commissioner Varela. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 23, bank transfers for the month of March and tax dollar report. Ms. Bustamante, San Miguel County Treasurer. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Now, in March, we only had the Bernalillo County transfer, which was $43,847,000. We had 2 payroll transfers. One was $22,037, $51,973.35 from detention center, $185,320.62 from the general fund. On the 29th, we had $203,651.57 to payroll, $44,777.80 from detention center, $158,873.77 from general fund. Those were the only transfers that we have for the month of March. My tax dollar report this quarter was $1,212,095.30. That was for January, February, and March. We're also going to have a sale, a tax sale this month, May the 1st, and that is only Concha's property that are delinquent with their taxes, that they're going to put a sale on those properties.
Question for Ms. Bustamante?
Not my property.
No, it's not your property,
I have a
sir.
question about that. Is there a process for the ones you put up for sale, go through the newspaper and?
Yes, they
a
do.
whole legal process that you follow?
Yes, they do. And it's all done by the state of New Mexico. I do not choose, I do not choose the properties that they put up for sale. Okay?
Thank
And
you,
that
Ms.
was it for
Bustamante.
March. You're welcome.
Item number 24, amendment to administrative regulation governing per diem and mileage in San Miguel County. Ms. Gonzalez?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, there's a couple of different amendments that we're proposing to this administrative regulation. The first one is regarding out-of-state travel. It's been the practice of the county to obtain commission approval prior to anybody attending out-of-state travel, but it's never really been documented anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and request that it be added to this administrative regulation as an amendment. I'm just requiring that any public officer or employee must be approved by the Board of County Commissioners prior to the travel taking place. The second amendment has to do with mileage when no overnight lodging is required. So all mileage to be claimed by a public officer or an employee for the use of a privately owned vehicle when overnight lodging is not required shall be tracked on a specific San Miguel County travel log. The log must be certified by the public officer or employee, and the public officer shall submit the log to the county manager for review and approval. The employee shall submit their logs to their respective supervisor for review and approval. The mileage claim must be above at least 35 miles from the post of duty if somebody's using their personal vehicle. In the case of a county commissioner, the post of duty shall be the residence of that commissioner.
Do I have to get permission now, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Do I have to get permission, like if we're going out of state? If it's county business, but not on county money, either way, you still have to get permission?
I'm thinking that this is just regarding per diem, and so I think it's just for the reimbursement. If you're wanting to seek any kind of funds from the county, then you would need to seek approval from the Board of County Commissioners.
In general, if you're gonna go out of state to do county business, do you need the commission to approve it, like a commissioner or somebody like that?
Only if they're seeking reimbursement from the county. They're going to get paid in any form or fashion from the county for room and lodging or mileage or anything like that.
Thank you.
The purpose of this item on the agenda, just to discuss it, just to get some ideas, and are you going to bring a proposal for a signature later on, once you shore it up?
Well, it is just for discussion now and for you to let me know what your thoughts are on this, or if there's any other changes you would like to make on it.
Any suggestions for Ms. Gonzalez regarding travel? Any recommendations?
if we should include what Commissioner Padilla was talking about, even though it's not related to reimbursement, just as a process. I don't know if that's included in this, or that's a separate item, and if that's necessary. I'm new, so I haven't gone anywhere.
And the reason I ask is if you're representing the county, should it have to go to the commission if you're going out of state to represent the county? Because, let's say, for example, the commissioners have a certain way of expressing what they want done, and this one person goes on their own and they do what they want. It's not the whole commission, but they're representing the county commission. So that's the reason I was asking that question.
Okay.
Well, that would come before we would have to approve the out-of-state travel as a commission as a whole. And at that time, we would possibly discuss what items we would pay, whether we would pay per diem, mileage, or whatever. Is that correct?
I could include some language in that just to make it more clear as to what it is that you want to approve, regardless if it requires funds or not. And I could represent it.
And I think it should include that everybody that travels out of state, including commissioners, would need full commission approval.
Okay.
Well, they're doing county business.
In any county business,
Any
yeah.
county business that they should.
Yeah, county business, yes.
Where they're representing the county.
Representing the county.
Or
whether
themselves
it's
or
a
county commission.
employee, any employee representing the county.
Okay.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Gonzalez?
That's it regarding that item, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Item number 25, journal entry report for the month of February. Informational purposes, Ms. Gonzalez.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, that's exactly what this report is. It's a report showing all the journal entries that were posted during the month of February 2018, regardless of the period that it was posted to.
And that was item number 25. Any additional things? Any questions from Ms. Gonzalez?
The only thing
Regarding
is
journal entry
are we
report.
paying all our bills?
Yes, Commissioner Padilla, we're
Yes,
paying all of our
good.
bills.
Okay, moving on to item number 26, cash balance report. Ms. Gonzalez.
Item 26 is our cash balance report, and it's to report all the reconciled cash balances as of January 2018. And it also is for informational purposes only.
Report 10,515,006. Any questions regarding the cash balance report? Any comment?
Are we on track with where we should be? I know we're doing a midterm adjustment, which comes up in a few months.
Well, we just did our mid-year adjustments, but this is actually the end of the third quarter now in March. So what I do on a quarterly basis is I report to the Department of Finance and Administration, and it gives me a really good idea of where we are in meeting our budget. I could share that report with you guys. The fourth quarter report is at the end of the fiscal year, which ends in June. That fourth quarter report is due in July. After we've reconciled everything in that book, that actual quarter is a very pivotal because it really will anchor what it is that we're going to budget for next fiscal year, being fiscal year 18-19. And in saying that, we're going to also be meeting with the departments very soon to go over the fiscal year 18-19 budgets. Those budgets are actually due to the Department of Finance and Administration before the end of May. So I'll be requesting a special meeting with you guys to go ahead and go over that.
For when?
Sometime in May. We're having
May,
our
okay.
meetings with the departments now in late April, and once we meet with them, it'll take me a while just to compile everything.
Okay, Ms. Gonzalez, under any other question? Under item 27, receipt report for the month of February 2018, informational purposes.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner, these are all the receipts that are received by our county treasurer's office. They collect, of course, property taxes, solid waste, and all miscellaneous payments for the county. I should say, I don't know if I've ever said, these do not include any receipts that are received from our inmates. That's actually through a different system. I could start reporting that, I just thought of that right now. But we also have a system at the detention center that's used by the detention center in accounting for the inmate funds.
Any questions regarding or comments regarding the receipt report for the month of February? Moving on to item 28, accounts payable report for the period of February 27, 2018 to March 23, 2018 in the January 2018 housing payment register. Ms. Gonzalez.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, attached you will find a check report for the period indicated, showing all the checks that have been issued through our system, through our Tyler system. And then there's another report that's being provided, and those are the payments made by Bernalillo County on behalf of San Miguel County for the February housing transactions.
Any comments regarding, questions regarding accounts payable report?
No questions.
Okay. Motion to approve by Commissioner Varela,
Second.
second by Commissioner Padilla. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Completes the agenda items. Mr. Manager, any need for executive session, sir?
Yes, we do, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Under limited personnel matters as permitted by NMSA 1978, Section 10-15-1, H2, as amended of the Open Meetings Act, more specifically personnel matters regarding specific county departments, that would be Union, AFSCME, ASME.
Need a motion? Do we need a roll call? Roll call.
Yes.
Can I have a roll call, please? First of all, I need a motion to approve executive session. All in favor?
A second.
Need a roll call at this time?
Chairman Chris Nahad,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Janice Varela,
Yes.
Commissioner Rocco Livari, Commissioner Arthur Padilla,
Yes.
Commissioner Maria Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carried. We'll retire to executive
Motion
session.
adjourned. Motion adjourned.
Motion, then roll call. Christian made a motion?
We can have it, Chairman. We can have it in if you want, which is going to be the lawyer and the union. Present that to the
Thank you.
Sure, I'll see you later. You have yourself a nice day. The rest of it.
Thank you, sir.
Same old, same old.
Bye, Shirley, here.
No, I'm David Romero. It's hard enough to be there.
What are you doing?
Now, we're at the stage where we're moving from regular session to executive session. So this meeting is going to be starting in a minute. Let's talk in a minute.
And I wonder if it related because one of the houses down, but I do know what the
We'll see ya.